Let's talk about a $13 million case that settled in less than 24 hours after our animation was submitted to the other side. So this is a carbon monoxide case, and first what we illustrated was proper airflow. And it all comes down to the air intake vent, whether it was maintained or not. And so first we illustrated what a properly maintained air vent actually looks like. And so when you flip the intake around, we properly show the louver and a clean bird screen there, and show which area actually feeds the furnace room, shown by the highlighted area there. And so the blue arrows illustrate proper airflow with proper maintenance. Okay, and this is actually sped up. Um, it's actually was slower so that there could be rich dialogue during trial, even though this was shown in mediation and was settled before trial. And so you can see this air, it's coming into the furnace room, right, from the vent, from the intake on the outside. And what happens is this produces clean air. And so when all three furnaces are kicked on in the furnace room, and the screen is maintained, there is no poisonous gas. And so there's proper air intake coming into the furnaces, as you can see with the blue arrows. And then there's also exhaust coming out of the system. Now, when no exhaust is coming out of the system, there's actually lots of condensation. And everyone knows condensation and wetness causes rust with metals. And so why is there so much rust in the basement furnaces? So we actually took, these are the site photographs. The photographs at the time of the incident, maybe hours after the carbon monoxide incident occurred, and we showed that and incorporated it into the animation. And so when there is no exhaust, it's called spillage. Spillage equals condensation and carbon monoxide. And condensation equals rust because wetness equals rust. And so we are showing that these furnaces rusted out, and it was because of the spillage. When there's no exhaust, the carbon monoxide just builds up in the room, you see, because there's not proper inflow. And it all comes down to the maintenance. So what does normal spillage look like? So the defense was talking about, well, there's rust in all sorts of furnaces, right? And this is true. And so this is what we wanted to illustrate was exactly what you would see in normal rust. Now here, in contrast, is results of harmful spillage, okay? And so we wanted everyone to understand the clear difference between minor rust and major rust. That's major rust. And so describing how the poison happened, how it built up, how it caused condensation, because it ultimately came down to a screen that was not maintained by the maintenance company. Okay? And so we further illustrate this by showing normal spillage and harmful spillage comparisons side by side. Just an elegant way. So now what actually happened with an unmaintained screen when the maintenance company did not do what they were supposed to do? We show the exact same animation except slightly different. So we see the intake coming from the outside. We flip it around so it's very intuitive, very simple to understand how it works. But this time we animate the dirt buildup. You see the bird screen, then you see the dirt buildup, and there's blockage at combustion intake vent, right? And so we actually incorporated some of the unmaintained vent photos taken by the expert, who was the professor of engineering and also the expert witness on this case. And it's just very, very clear at this moment, this screen was just unmaintained. Proper inflow could not occur. So you can't see air. Well, let's illustrate it. And so again, this is sped up. These are very, very slow arrows to show that the air was actually restricted. So I show outside air and then inside air in the furnace room, right? And so here is impeded inflow into the furnace room. It's brown, like a dirty air that's impeded, that comes in slowly. And so There's no exhaust, and so what happens is this carbon monoxide buildup happens in the room. And we actually made two versions, one with a skull and crossbones and one without, just for admissibility, just in case um, the judge thought that this was a little bit biased. We actually took that out. But regardless of whether you have the skull and crossbones or not, that is toxic gas, and it clearly describes it going into the supply to all of the people in the building would be breathing this in. And so, by contrast to the proper intake, this one shows no exhaust. And so, when the air return flow gets kicked on, that carbon monoxide gas is actually sucked through the filter at the bottom left there and distributed to the supply for everyone to breathe. And so, this clearly shows this is the fault of the maintenance company who didn't properly clean the screen. There was no proper inflow, and the evidence of the rust shows this. Dr. also wanted a chemical illustration of what a healthy flame looked like with proper inflow. And so proper inflow, there would be sufficient oxygen, and then mixed with a little bit of methane, and it would produce H2O and carbon dioxide, which is not harmful. And so we were able to show a healthy blue flame. Contrasting with methane and insufficient oxygen as what occurred, you can see this purpley orange color, and that's actually the color of the chemical color of the flame, and it produces carbon monoxide, which is shown in green there. But this time we show insufficient oxygen. So let's talk about the response from the actual law firm. So this was a $13 million case settled in less than 24 hours. And the attorney and the owner of the firm said Cody and his team at Fox AE did a great job for our trial team and clients. We gave them a very short deadline, and they produced high quality animation, specifically tailored to our complex case. We represented 6 plaintiffs who suffered brain injuries from exposure to carbon monoxide in a commercial building. The case was heavily litigated for 3 years, and the cause and origin of the carbon monoxide was in dispute. Cody was able to work tirelessly with our team and our expert to bring our expert's cause and origin opinions to life in vivid and persuasive detail. I produced the animation to the other side on Thursday before we started a month-long trial. The case settled within 24 hours for a total recovery of $13 million. Trial graphics and animations get results. I also want to get results with you. Pick up the phone and call us now.